Now, the final part is jumping, and we'll look at this. Truth, no 40-inch vertical jump in NFL Combine history did not have both knees over the toes. That's a truth. Me saying you have to train your knees over your toes, not a truth. A study last year determined that half squats compared to full squats, which when you load ends up putting your knees more over your toes, you don't have to as much in half squat. They determined at the end of this they cannot even advise half squats for athletes because athletes who half squat have more knee pain and got less jump results, but that's a study, that's their determination. That's not truth. The truth we have, knee goes over your toe when you go down steps, knees over your toe to walk backwards. The knee ends up bending all the way and your knee goes over your toe in order for your body to exert its maximum vertical jump. Now, when you run into a jump, you have even more knees over toes, but only on the inside leg. You may not even go knees over toes on the outside leg. And that can be even worse because it creates imbalances. So again, there are 0 outliers on a running 2-foot jump at a world-class level that did not have extreme knees over toes. That's another truth. So what do I do? What do I find with these guys? I find that they're horribly imbalanced and that their knee pains don't come because they're weak as a total. They come because one side is so much weaker than the other side, and then it fixes the knee pain. And they can jump even higher because you are the sum of both legs, so you bring up the weak link. But none of that is true. That was my determination on what to do about it from something that is true. And last but not least, when you run in for a 1-foot jump, there is very little, if any, knees over toes. In fact, the ability to do that relates much more to knee behind toe, tibialis, which I'm more obsessed with than anyone and have coached more people through, and I've probably done more tibialis reps than anyone alive. And the back of the knee, the Nordic, to keep pulling the ground. So let's look at Michael Jordan jumping from the foul line, and you'll see very little knees over toes, but wait for it. Major tibialis impact. We're talking thousands of pounds of force. That's again a truth. You can look into how much force goes into things like jumps. And then major force behind the knee to keep pulling the ground. But check this out. When you jump up, that's one thing. When you have a full running start and go off 2 feet, that's even more impact. When you have a full running start and go off 1 foot, soaring through the air horizontally, that's going to be the most impact. And look at Jordan's left leg on the landing, way knees over toes. And in sport, when you reach with one arm, try doing it with your foot down. When you can lift, you get higher. So some of the most aggressive, best athletes in the world, Michael Jordan, Russell Westbrook, they're landing constantly through one leg, much more knee over toe than the other. Now think about how much force that is. Anyone who knows physics and math could calculate Michael Jordan's body weight times distance, whatever. How much force is that going to be on that left leg? Way knee over toe. So that is another fact of knees over toes. Final opinions. Statistically, the most bulletproof successful high jumper of all time, meaning how short he was versus how high he jumped, winning gold medals, how many times a year he could compete. He was the Cal Ripken, he was the Iron Man of high jump. How did he squat? Rock bottom. And he's now still in his 40s, still super athletic, still squatting rock bottom. So the most bulletproof and successful high jumper of all time squatted all the way down, but that's an opinion. Now the greatest knee longevity case that anyone can find in the world is this guy who at 75 years old was jumping over hurdles half his height, George Hackenschmidt. Do you know what his squat was? He would hold the bar behind his glutes, lower down until his cheeks were practically touching his sneaks. And that is a true hack squat. Yet now if you go into gyms around the world, imagine how pissed this guy would be if he found out that people are now doing quite literally the opposite, doing way more load than their knees can handle, creating imbalances which create knee problems. But again, that's all my opinions. And it's again, just an isolated occurrence that the greatest jump longevity case ever was one of the greatest knees over toes pioneers. And actually, if you try it, it's probably the toughest knee exercise there is. Not quite done, almost there. Kaddour Ziani, my current jump mentor, this guy is crazy, like literally the most knees over toes jump guy of all time. Arguably the highest jumper ever if you just watch the footage. Okay, I'm not going off numbers, don't care about numbers. Anyone can cheat or exaggerate numbers. Just look at how high he jumped. And he's 47 years old and can still dunk. So the three most bulletproof successful jumpers that I was able to find in terms of old age, the sport of high jump, and the sport of dunking, all three were actually outliers in how they went all the way down, which to me connects the dot with what this doctor says about motion and compression, then allowing us to heal and have and give nutrients to that cartilage. But none of those are truths. So the true data we have about knees over toes, our knees goes over our toes when we go down steps, over our toes when we walk backwards, below 90 degrees for every human being, the way we were designed, and both over the toes in order to express the human body's maximum vertical output, way over the toes on the inside leg with a maximum output running 2-foot jump, and tons of force in the other areas, but perhaps the most knees over toes force on the landing of a 1-footed jump for distance. So there you go. I hope you like this. If you liked these truths, I'll definitely try to do more for other areas. But I'm the knee guy. Knees literally took away my happiness. That's why I'm fired up about this, because I could be happy the rest of my life compared to what I was before. Every day is better than it was when I was in chronic pain, hooked on painkillers, thinking I'd never not just be able to play my sport. I was looking ahead at a life of not even be able to play with my kids and stuff. So that's why I'm fired up. That's why knees over toes. The myth has to die, has to be understood.